Okay.
Good afternoon, evening, everyone. How are you? This is Chad Allen, and tonight's call will be about identity. And this is one who's such a beautiful girl, an amazing girl, my daughter. She's so funny. She really wants to be part of the Facebook Live call, but tonight Facebook Live is about identity, understanding and establishing your identity. So the question I have for you, do you know who you are? And if you know who you are, is it enough to get you to be able to change your life or to keep you from changing uh, the things that could bring you down? So identity is very, very, very important. And the master keys to maximize leadership, Dr. Dave McCullough states that you as a person, you have great potential. You have very strong potential. And he says, when you recognize your purpose and believe that God has given you every necessary potential to make it happen, you will find your place on earth. And then Saint Catherine of Siena states, if you are what you should be, you will set the world on fire. Now think about that. You will set the world on fire. So, what does it mean to have identity? What is the definition? Definition of identity is really how you see yourself. It is your self-perception of who you are. So, for example, if you're thinking that you are lowly, then you will always be low. If you think you are great and you have great potential and you will become somebody, then you will be that. There's a quote, I can't remember who it's from. It might be Henry Ford. If you think that you can, you surely will achieve. If you think you cannot, then you are also right. So identity is very, very important. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? Good evening. So it brings me to what my next points. What shapes your perception and your identity? And there are many things that really shapes your perception. For example, your family upbringing, how your parents treat you, how you perceive yourself, your family, your everything that's there. Family is more like the acceptance or the having the regrets. Do you feel accepted? Because of your family's always blessing you, is always giving you a great identity, that you are great, or are you feeling self regret because maybe your parents or others are really telling you, you're good for nothing, that kind of thing. So your family can really shape your identity as a person. It can really dictate your future. Another one is your experience. That has to do with the success and failures. For example, your experience in business, your experience in school, whatever. Whether you failed or whether you were successful in that will really shape how you will perceive yourself, and it will also dictate your future. The opinions of others. So if if you always hear someone said, especially your father, said, you are a genius, then your self-perception will always be high. But if you hear you are a failure, then it will be low. So the opinions of others will also shape that self-perception, your beliefs, like your religious beliefs and your cultural beliefs as well, and your choices. So it's basically when you choose, whatever the choices that you make today can greatly dictate what you will be tomorrow, and that is really quite true in everything that we do. And how you perceive yourself will also greatly dictate in how you are. And Think about this for a moment, especially for those who are Christian. If the devil can cripple your identity, if he can cripple your identity, then he can damage your destiny. Let me repeat that. If the devil can cripple your identity, certainly he will be able to damage your destiny. So don't let the devil damage your destiny and keep you from achieving what you are meant to achieve. Number 2, if you think the first thing that God gave to mankind was identity. When you were created, God gave you identity. This is when you read Genesis 1:26. This is the case. What does he say? God created man in his own image. So your identity when it comes to being in Christ is what? You were made in the image of God. You are God's child. The same thing happens when we become Christian, when we give ourselves to Christ. What is the first thing that Christ does? What is the first thing that he says? When you become of Christ, you have been given the right to be a child of God. See, identity. That's your identity. So that you can read that in John 1. I think it's John 1, 12, I believe. So God says, so when we give ourselves in our identity, and we really think of ourselves and however we see ourselves, that would really be how we are going to be in the future. So my suggestion to you is that you should always think you should always think of yourself as someone who will be great achievers, because identity really, really does matter in everything that we do. Number 3, God says, and Paul has stated in the Bible, you must put off your old self. So if you're always having an issue with your self-perception and how you perceive yourself, God says, put off your old self. Put the old person away. Don't allow others to dictate how you feel. Don't allow those who always say that you're good for nothing. Don't let your mind to dictate how your future success. Instead, put that off, put that away, and know that you are of Christ, that you are someone who has great potential and will have and is able to lead others to that potential as well. So identity is, again, it's very, very important. So, even if we are able to change outwardly, the mind is very strong. So we have to be able to really be able to forgive ourselves, and we need to be able to forgive others, because when you allow others to dictate how you feel, then you are allowing them to control your identity as well. You're allowing them to control who you are. So we have to be willing to forgive ourselves and others as well. And because, truth be told, even if you are saved in Christ, you are still a product of your past, and no matter, and you are still going to be changed by your past actions, by what others have told you. When they curse you or they bless you, you're still going to be changed by that. And the only way that you can be broken from that and to really realize your full potential is that you forgive yourself first, and then also forgive others, and forgive the situations, all the words that has been told to you. You really have to be able to sit down and understand what your identity really is. You are a child of God. If you're a Christian, you are a child of God. And When you are a child of God, you have access to all the riches and wealth that Christ has. You are a prince and you are a princess. That's how you should be perceiving yourself. And what does a prince is a great leader. A princess is a great leaderess. So, really understanding who you are is vital to everything that will help you in the future. So, we have to maintain a positive attitude about ourselves. We have to we cannot allow a negative idea, a negative thought come into our mind. It's hard, trust me. We all have negatives that come in, but we cannot allow those things to really control us and to dictate who we are in others. So you have to maintain a positive identity of yourself and know that that it's like, think about this. When you become you know what your identity is, there's nothing in this world that will ever be able to take you away from it. No one who says anything bad to you will be able to change who you are. No one no situation, no circumstance, anything like that can dictate. Because why? You know what your identity is, and that's very, very important. So you really need to stop judging yourself and stop looking at yourself in a way that is not uh, that's not helpful to you. Because if you keep judging yourself, you keep looking down on yourself and all the problems that you have. If you keep focusing on that, how can you ever progress? How can you ever go forward? This is trials. Think about this. Trials are made to get you to the next level. When you have trials, don't look at it as a negative. Oh, woe is me. This is so terrible. Life is going to be so terrible because, I have this big trial and or here's another one. Or, man, every time I try to get ahead, something else happens. Well, why is that taking place? Because God is wanting you to learn something. And until you learn what God is trying to tell you, then you're not going to move forward. But the moment that you begin to understand these things, that the trials are everything that God is trying to teach you, to be humble and teaching you so that He's teaching you so that you can really progress in your life, then that is the time that you'll be able to move forward into the next chapter of your life. And so you really need to understand this is what we are all about. So, hi Sarah, how are you? This is the bright. She's really bright. so 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 when it comes to identity, we really need to understand that the blessing, right? So we have to look at the potential of the people. We have to look at our own potential and not our problems. And if we're going to be leaders, we focus on the potentials of others, not on their problems. Those who are not leaders, they always focus on the problem. They always complain and look at the negative of the person. But the true leaders will always look at the potential of the person and what they can be. For example, let's look at the example of Christ and look at the example of the Father and how He treated his son. What did He tell His son when Christ was about to be baptized? Did He say, this is my no good for nothing son? Don't, I don't know why he's being baptized by John the Baptist. No, He did not say that. See, God, the Father, was looking at the potential of His son, who was being baptized to fulfill all righteousness, right? He was looking at His son and prescribing His destiny to him. And He told His son, what? This is my son, whom I am well pleased. Identity, affirmation. See, God saw the potential in his son. You know, our identity can, let's go back to the family. Our identity can be greatly affected by our family, right? And as fathers, that identity can truly be affected by them. So, for example, did you know that a father's blessing or a father's curse can truly affect their children for the rest of their lives? It's a proven fact. It really is. You know, a father that constantly affirms their children and a father that really uh, prescribes identity to them, you know, by giving them the affirmations, by saying you are great, you will become this, you are this, you know, you are mighty, that those kind of things. Those are the children that will grow up to be great leaders. They will grow up to be super successful, and it's a proven fact. You can do all the research. It's a proven fact. When a father uh, gives a positive identity to their children, they will become successful, and their identity is secured uh, with their family. They're secured with God, and they're secured in everything else in life. But when a father prescribes a cursing, saying you are good for nothing, you are this, you are that, and even the mother, by the way, but when it's really the father, that child is damaged for the rest of their life. And it's not until that child is able to break free from that chain will he or she be able to proceed in life with a positive and successful life. So we have to be very careful in how as parents and even as leaders, when it comes to business or when it comes to church ministry or whatever, we have to be very careful in how we treat our and how we raise up our children. We cannot allow ourselves to proceed with a curse, or we'll see the consequence. So be affirming, and also give the blessing to your kids, and even to those who are leading. You should be able to see their potential, not their problems. Don't focus on the problems, focus on the potential. You, as a person, you have in every situation that you have, when it comes to your self-perception, whenever someone tells you something that is negative and how you perceive yourself, you have a choice to believe that or not. So your choice and how you perceive yourself is your choice. It's you. And when you start thinking positively of yourself and start seeing yourself for what you will become, then that's also is your choice, and great things begin to happen from that. So it's all mindset as well. Your identity or your self-perception is ultimately going to determine your performance and the quality of your relationships, your behavior, and also your life. So really understand that the way you perceive yourself will determine your life course, and what the kind of decisions that you make, the kind of behavior that you will have, the kind of performance that you will have. Think of, like, for a business, for example, you're always going out, but then you hit a negative. Like, for example, you're going out to prospect, and then someone says no, and then your best friend says no, and then all of a sudden you go into a cocoon because they say something negative, and you no longer go out and prospect because that person said, well, what you're doing is very stupid. That doesn't work. Oh, that's a scam. And then next thing you know, you're in a cocoon, and you effectively allow that person to dictate the rest of your life, to dictate to you whether or not you're going to have success or not. You allow that person to control your identity. You allow that person to control your identity. Why? So really be able to break free from those curses, those chains that are trying to control who you are. Because God says, you are mighty. You are a child of God. You are meant for greatness. You are everything that I've ever wanted you to be. So take it, because God has given it to you. So, another quote by Anais Nin. You do not see things as they are. You see things as you are. So if you are always thinking negative of yourself, then that's how you're going to perceive the world. You're always going to perceive the world in a negative way. But if you're a very positive person, a very confident person, you will see the world in a confident way, in a positive way. So that's basically what that is saying. Another one. We find happiness not because of others, not because the others have changed, or because the situation has changed. We find happiness because we have changed. It's because we have changed. So if you want to change the world, then you need to change. Your identity has to be realized so that your purpose will be fulfilled and your destiny will be achieved in life. Here's another one. Let's see here. Yeah. So my final point on this, okay? You are not cheap. This is a quote from Pastor Dave McCollum, Dr. Dave McCollum. You are not cheap. Because you are worth the life of the only begotten Son of God. Think about that. So don't let others put you down. Don't let others to control your identity and your purpose in life. Don't let them tell you that you are worth nothing, because God gave His only begotten Son so that you will have identity. Identity through Him, and identity in business, identity in your ministry, whatever that is. Your identity is how you perceive yourself. So therefore, take back your identity from those who are trying to tell you that you are nothing, that you can't do it. You can do it because God has given you the ability to become great and to become someone who will make impact on the world, and not only in the world but in the kingdom of God. So you really, really need to believe that and take time. You will really be able to help find your identity if you really read the Bible in a careful way, and you can really see how God and Christ and Paul and all of the prophets, how they really ascribe identity, especially God. When He talks to Abraham, you will be a father of nations. What's another one that He calls Peter? Yeah, Jesus says to Peter, you are no longer
fisherman.
He says you are no longer this, but you are a rock. You are the rock where the church will start from you. Peter was a guy. He was shy. He was afraid to talk to people at times. He was a guy that when someone approached him that he was a follower of Christ, he denies 3 times. And every time something big time happens, he's the guy that would kind of go back in his cocoon a little bit. But yet, God built the church around him. Identity, because Christ saw what Peter could be. Another one is Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say? Or no, it was Nathan, I think. What did he say? It was Thomas or Nathan, but he would say, I saw you under the fig tree. Behold, here is a man of great stature who knows the law. He saw him under the fig tree. and he prescribed identity to him. See, he saw the potential in others. So you also should see the potential in others and not their problems, because you are great, and you never know what they will become. You'll never know. So see their potential and focus on that. And yourself, don't look at your problems. Yeah, you have problems. I mean, you gotta take care of your problems. Don't see the problems that you have. See your potential and where you will be in the future, and believe it and take control of it, because your identity is who you are. It's how you perceive yourself. So, a child of God, you are. If you're wanting to be a top earner in your company, you are a top earner in your company. If you want to be a missionary that reaches a lot of people, you are a missionary who reaches thousands of people. You are a top missionary person. Whatever you are looking to achieve, believe that you are that, and work toward it. Strategize, work toward it. That's uh, how you can achieve things. But it really starts with your identity and your purpose. And without that, uh, you will not be able to. You will only be able to achieve as much as what you think you are. So let's get your identity. Believe in yourself and believe in others, and then believe in your purpose, and then let's begin to create a vision and other things. So tomorrow I'll be talking about a vision in my Facebook live call, and we're going to continue to do the Men of Integrity's Maximize Leadership course, which is a 10-part course. And so tomorrow will be about vision. And I will also post in the, not the comment, but I'll post in the post itself, the blog as well, where you can watch the video of identity. It's really, really good. You should totally take time to watch it. And so I thank you for your time, and I know that you will have a great night, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Please comment in the comments below. Make whatever you want to ask questions. You're more than welcome to ask questions. Visit my blog at jedallen.pro. And by the way, if you are looking for a way to support me, just message me and I will get back with you on what I do as a business, and also the missions that I have. So I really love to share that with you. But just you can message me in the comment section or PM me. Either is okay. And I would look forward to really talking to you soon. And thank you so much for being on the call. Take care. Bye-bye.